Evening and welcome. Starting with this top story that we are tracking for you. Pakistan has appointed a former military general as its ambassador to Saudi Arabia. This comes as the country is desperately trying to repair its ties with its Gulf allies. Lieutenant General Bilal Akbar served in several high-ranking positions during his more than 20-year-long tenure in the Pakistan Army. He headed the Pakistan Rangers in the Sindh province. Akbar, who retired from the country's military service last month, will replace Raja Ali Ejaz as the Saudi envoy. Ejaz, a career diplomat, has been the country's ambassador in Riyadh since January of 2019 and retires in May. Of late, relations between Islamabad and Riyadh have hit rock bottom. A cash-strapped Islamabad has been unable to repay Riyadh $3 billion in loan repayments. Pakistan has also been wary of the growing ties between India and the Gulf. Recently, Indian Army Chief General Naravne visited Saudi Arabia and the UAE, and sources indicated that Bilal Akbar is to take charge in May. Islamabad's decision to appoint Akbar has met criticism by the Pakistani Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and who has brushed off that criticism by giving a non-answer. Listen in.
क्वेश्चन का जवाब मैं ये दी कि this is an administrative matter and as a policy we do not comment on administrative matters.
Akbar's name over that of other long-time diplomats like Ejaz suggests that the appointment came at the behest of Pakistan's defense establishment. It demonstrates the country's military establishment's desire to take control of bilateral ties with a key ally that have lately been hit by turbulence. The Imran Khan-led Tehreek-e-Insaf has already dared to question the appointment of military men, retired or otherwise, in key ambassadorial positions. Now, Pakistan provides 35% quota or preference to non-careerists for political appointments, but most of this quota happens to be utilized by retired military officers like Lieutenant General Bilal Akbar. At present, at least 30% of these appointments are tapped in from the military. Only 5% is left for individuals from non-administrative backgrounds to make the cut. Besides the mission in Riyadh going back to a retired general, Pakistan's ambassadors in Brunei, Syria, Sri Lanka, Ukraine, the Maldives, Nigeria, Bosnia and Libya are all retired armed forces officers. Now, we are being joined by Imtiaz Gul, a senior journalist. For more on this, thank you for being with us on this broadcast. A former military general as the ambassador to Saudi Arabia for Pakistan. Why a military general in yet another such position?
Well, in the first place, I should thank you that so much importance is being given on an Indian channel to the appointment of a military guy in Saudi Arabia as the ambassador. This is, I think, nothing new. There have been previously General Naseem Rana and I think General Jahangir Karamat and a few others have also served there as ambassadors, and so in many other countries, just because of the quota. And this is a carryover, you know, from these long years of involvement in Pakistan's politics, direct rule or indirect rule since the first martial law was imposed in 1958. So this is very much in sync with the about 10% of the quota that goes to retired officers, mostly major generals and generals. And why this has happened at this point, timing may be important, just because there were a few problems, some misunderstandings, and probably the military establishment and the Prime Minister thought that the best way to fend off possible disruptions through an army officer.
Right. And now, does this not complicate matters and acts as somewhat of a precursor to furthering military rule in all areas of Pakistan industry?
Well, I mean, every country has its own peculiarities, and so has Pakistan with its long history of military involvement, direct or indirect, in politics. So this influence has remained there, whether somebody agrees, accepts or denies it. But they have been very much around, and this is now appears to be for the first time that apparently there is no conflict as of now between the General Headquarters and the Prime Minister's office. Both are moving in sync, in unison as far as their foreign policy is concerned, and probably this is for the first time after very long years that both the military and the civilian government are on the so-called same page as far as our relations with external friends are concerned, with China, Saudi Arabia, even with the United States. So there is quite a consonance of policy as far as these both pillars of power is concerned.
Right. Thanks for joining us for bringing